In life, we often think being friendly with everyone is a superpower. But what if I tell you that sometimes being too friendly can be your biggest weakness? Yes, too friendly can actually drain you, confuse people, and even attract the wrong kind of energy into your life. Today, I want to share something very important: how to love and connect with people without losing yourself in the process. Because friendship is a gift, but boundaries are the key to happiness. Think about it. From the moment we are born, we are told to be nice, to share, to smile, to be friends with everyone. And yes, there is beauty in kindness. It makes life smoother, relationships sweeter, and it spreads positivity like sunlight. But here's the catch. Life does not demand that you be friendly with everyone you meet. You see, sometimes we mistake friendliness for obligation. We feel we must smile at everyone, we must agree with everyone, we must make everyone like us. And slowly we forget the most important person, ourselves. Let me give you an example. Imagine a lamp. A lamp is meant to give light. It shines beautifully in a room, and it makes everything visible. But what happens if that lamp tries to shine in every room of the city at the same time? It will burn out, its bulb will fuse, and it will no longer illuminate even a single room. That's exactly what happens when we are too friendly. We try to shine for everyone, and in the process, we lose our energy, our focus, and even our joy. We give away our warmth to people who might not even deserve it. We bend over backward to please others, while our own dreams, our own peace, silently wait for attention. Friendliness is a gift, a beautiful gift that should be given consciously, intentionally, and lovingly. But it is never a requirement. You are not here to make everyone happy. You are not here to be the most liked person in every room. You are here to live your life, to build meaningful connections, and to bring your own light into the world without being drained, without being lost. So remember, be friendly, but don't overextend. Be kind, but don't lose yourself. Smile, but not at the cost of your own happiness. Because when you give your gift of friendliness wisely, it becomes powerful. It becomes a light that truly warms hearts, rather than a flicker that fades away under pressure. Not everyone deserves your personal space. Think about it. We all meet people in life. Some stay for a moment, some stay for a season, and a few stay for a lifetime. And yet, sometimes, we treat everyone as if they deserve a front row seat in our hearts. We invite everyone into our lives, share our thoughts, our emotions, our energy, without even realizing who actually values it. Let me tell you a small story. There was a man who had a beautiful garden in his house. Every morning, he watered his plants, tended to the flowers, and nurtured them with love. But he noticed that some plants, no matter how much care he gave them, grew weak or even stole nutrients from the others. So he learned a simple truth. Not every plant belongs in every part of the garden. Some flourish only in certain spots, under certain conditions. Some need to be moved, or sometimes even removed, for the whole garden to thrive. Our relationships are exactly like that. Not everyone who crosses your path deserves your closeness, your trust, or your energy. Some people are meant to be acquaintances, some are meant to teach you lessons, and some are meant to walk away. But too often, we fail to recognize this. We overextend ourselves. We let people into our inner world who drain us, confuse us, or even take advantage of our kindness. And here is the subtle danger. You start feeling exhausted, frustrated, and even disappointed in yourself. You wonder, why do I feel so tired after being friendly? Or why do I feel like I'm giving more than I'm getting? That is your inner self telling you this person doesn't belong in your personal space. The key is not to shut your heart completely, not to become cold or distant, no. It's about discernment. It's about choosing wisely who you allow to touch your life, who you allow to influence your thoughts, your feelings, and your energy. It's about understanding that your personal space is sacred. It's where your peace, your focus, and your growth reside. When you guard your personal space with love, not fear, amazing things happen. You feel lighter, your energy multiplies, you can truly give to those who deserve it, and your relationships become deeper, more meaningful, and more joyful. Because when you protect your inner world, you are not pushing people away, you are simply honoring yourself and your life's journey. Too much friendliness can confuse intentions. Think about it. We live in a world where kindness is a language and friendliness is a bridge. But like any bridge, if it stretches too far or is built for the wrong traffic, it can collapse, or worse, be misused. Let me give you an example. Imagine a shopkeeper who is kind to everyone who walks into his store. He smiles, he chats, he offers extra help. And that's wonderful. But over time, some customers start expecting more than what's fair. They begin taking advantage of his generosity, asking for discounts, freebies, or favors that go beyond reason. The shopkeeper's kindness, which was once admired, is now being misunderstood as weakness or an invitation to exploit him. The same happens in our relationships. When we are too friendly, without boundaries, people may start misreading our intentions. They may think we are naive, they may assume we are always available, or they may interpret our openness as approval of behavior we don't actually support. Sometimes even people we love start taking us for granted. And here is the subtle heartbreak: the very quality that makes you beautiful, your friendliness, can be twisted into misunderstanding. This is why discernment matters. Being friendly doesn't mean you are everyone's punching bag. It doesn't mean you have to agree with everything, smile at everything, or say yes to everything. Friendliness is a language of respect, love, and warmth, but it is also a reflection of self-respect. If you let your kindness be interpreted incorrectly, you are doing a disservice to yourself and to those around you. Here's the lesson. When you are friendly, be mindful of your intentions and mindful of theirs. Ask yourself, am I giving because I truly want to, or am I giving because I want their approval? Are they taking my friendliness as a gift or as a license to cross my boundaries? This awareness is subtle, but it transforms the way people perceive you, and more importantly, it transforms the way you perceive yourself. Friendliness is powerful. It can create trust, warmth, and deep connections. But without clarity, it can also create confusion, frustration, and even conflict. So be warm, be open, but be conscious. Let your friend in. Be like the sun, bright, life-giving, but always steady in its path, never lost in random storms of misunderstanding. Because when friendliness is paired with clarity and boundaries, it becomes magnetic. People will respect it, people will value it, and most importantly, you will remain free, free to love, free to connect, and free to be yourself. Healthy boundaries are essential. This is one of those truths that sounds simple when we hear it, but when it comes to our daily lives, it's surprisingly hard to practice. We live in a world where saying yes has become almost a reflex. Yes to requests, yes to invitations, yes to everyone's expectations. And slowly, without even noticing, we start stretching ourselves too thin. Let me share a story. There was a young man who loved helping people. Every time someone came to him with a problem, he would drop everything to assist them. Friends, colleagues, even strangers. He helped all of them, all the time. And because he was so dependable, people began to rely on him constantly. They would call him at all hours, ask favors repeatedly, and slowly his own life began to suffer. He was exhausted, stressed, and yet he felt guilty saying no. One day he met a wise teacher who said something simple yet life-changing. Friendship and kindness are beautiful, but if you cannot protect your own space, your own energy, your own mind, then your kindness will slowly destroy you. Saying no is not unkind, it is a form of self-respect. Healthy boundaries are exactly that. They are not walls to keep people out. They are fences to protect the garden of your life. They help you preserve your energy, your peace, and your focus, so that when you say yes, it comes from a place of love and choice, not from exhaustion or obligation. Without boundaries, friendliness can become servitude. Without boundaries, relationships can become draining rather than uplifting. And the sad part is we often don't realize it until it's too late, until we feel burned out, frustrated, or resentful. And resentment is like poison. It slowly corrodes even the strongest friendships, even the deepest love. So how do we build healthy boundaries? First, know your limits. Understand what you can give freely without losing yourself. Second, communicate them gently but firmly. You don't have to be harsh, you just need to be clear. And third, trust why? Ourself. Trust that your relationships will survive your honesty. In fact, the right people, true friends, will respect you even more for it. Healthy boundaries are not about selfishness, they are about sustainability. They allow you to be friendly, loving, and kind day after day without feeling depleted. They allow your light to shine steadily without burning out. They allow your relationships to thrive because they are based on mutual respect, not on overextension. Remember, the most beautiful, enduring friendships are built not on constant availability, but on conscious, thoughtful presence. When you have boundaries, your yes becomes meaningful, your friendship becomes powerful, and your life becomes peaceful. Friendship is quality over quantity. This is something so simple yet so often misunderstood. We live in a world obsessed with numbers. How many friends we have on social media, how many contacts are in our phone, how many people like our posts. And somehow we begin to believe that friendship is a numbers game. The more friends, the better the life. The more connections, the richer the soul. But life has a very different way of teaching us. You may know 1,000 people, but how many of them truly stand by you when the storm comes? How many of them will pick you up when you're broken, speak the truth even when it hurts, and celebrate your success without envy? Very few. And that's the point. Let me share a story. There was a man who spent years trying to be friends with everyone. He hosted parties, attended every gathering, and made himself available to all. On the surface, he was popular. Everyone knew him, everyone liked him. But one day he faced a personal crisis. He lost his job and faced financial difficulties. He reached out for help, and to his surprise, very few people responded. Many were too busy, some pretended to care, and some simply disappeared. The numbers of friends didn't matter. Only the quality of a few real connections stood out. This is the essence of friendship. It's not about how many people know your name. It's about how many people know your heart. It's about depth, not breadth. True friends are like pillars. They may be few, but they support you in ways that 100 shallow connections never could. The challenge for us is to recognize who those real friends are and to invest our time, energy, and love in them, rather than spreading ourselves thin across hundreds of acquaintances. Because each relationship requires attention, care, and understanding. If we try to maintain too many, none will thrive. And then, in the pursuit of many, we lose the richness of the few. So when it comes to friendship, remember this: one true friend who understands you, challenges you, and supports you unconditionally is worth more than 100 who are only there for the good times. Quality friendships nourish your soul, while quantity without depth can leave you feeling empty, even if you are surrounded by people. The beautiful part is that when you focus on quality, life becomes simpler. Your heart feels lighter, your energy is preserved, and the friendships you have become sacred, meaningful, and powerful. These are the relationships that endure time, trials, and distance. These are the friendships that transform not just your life, but your soul. Avoid being a people pleaser. This is a lesson that many of us learn only after years of trying, failing, and feeling exhausted. From a young age, we are taught to be liked, to be agreeable, to make everyone happy. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be kind or helpful. But when kindness turns into a constant need to please, it becomes dangerous. It slowly eats away at your self-respect, your peace, and your identity. Think about it like this. Have you ever met someone who tries so hard to make everyone happy that they forget what they themselves want? They say yes when they mean no. They agree when they disagree. They smile when they're hurting. And over time, their own happiness becomes invisible, lost under the weight of other people's expectations. Let me tell you a story. There was a young woman who worked in a busy office. She was intelligent, capable, and always willing to help. She would stay late, finish other people's work, and make sure everyone was happy. On the outside, she seemed loved and respected. But inside, she was exhausted, anxious, and constantly worried about whether people liked her. One day, she realized that in trying to make everyone happy, She had completely neglected her own dreams, her own goals, her own happiness. She felt like a shadow of herself. Being a people pleaser is like trying to fill everyone else's cup while your own remains empty. You may think you are being selfless, but in reality you are giving away your energy and your life without conscious choice. And here is the irony: the people you try hardest to please often don't even notice, or they take it for granted. You end up exhausted, disappointed, and questioning your worth. The key is balance. Kindness should come from a place of love, not fear. Help because you genuinely want to, not because you fear rejection or judgment. Say yes when you mean yes, and say no when you mean no. Your authenticity is far more valuable than constant approval from others. Here's a simple truth: the moment you stop trying to please everyone, something magical happens. People begin to respect you for who you are. Your energy multiplies, your mind becomes calm, and you attract the right people, those who appreciate your presence, not just your compliance. Remember, you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you spend your life bending over backward to make everyone else happy, you are neglecting the one person who truly matters: yourself. True kindness is rooted in strength, not weakness. True influence comes from authenticity, not from constant approval seeking. So, let go of the need to be liked by everyone. Love yourself enough to be honest, firm, and true. Because when you stop being a people pleaser, your life transforms. Your relationships deepen, your confidence grows, and your happiness becomes real, lasting, and unshakable. Energy follows focus. This is one of those principles that sounds simple when we hear it, but its impact on our life is profound. Imagine your life as a garden. Every thought, every action, every relationship is like a seed. Where you pour your water, your sunlight, your energy, that is where life will flourish. And the same is true for your personal energy. Think about it. How many of us spend time with people who drain us? We give our attention to gossip, unnecessary drama, or distractions that do not serve our growth. We scroll endlessly on social media, comparing ourselves to others, worrying about things we cannot control, or pleasing people who do not value our effort. And slowly, our energy fades, our focus gets scattered, our potential remains untapped. Let me share a story. There was a young man who was constantly busy helping everyone around him. He was friendly, kind, and always saying yes. But when he looked back, he realized he had very little to show for himself. His own dreams, his own growth, and even his peace of mind had been neglected. He had poured his energy into every direction except the ones that mattered most. This is why focus matters. Energy follows focus. When you focus on what truly matters, on your goals, your growth, your well-being, you become unstoppable. You don't just drift, you move with purpose. You don't just give your energy blindly, you invest it wisely. And the beauty is, the more intentional you are with your energy, the more it multiplies. You begin to attract people, opportunities, and experiences that resonate with your purpose. But here is the subtle danger. Being too friendly or too available can scatter your energy. You may have the best intentions, wanting to help, support, and connect with everyone. But in the process, you risk diluting your focus and exhausting your energy. You end up like a river that spreads into too many channels, weak in every direction rather than powerful in one. The solution is conscious focus. Decide where your energy belongs. Nurture relationships that uplift. Invest time in activities that grow you, and protect your mind from unnecessary clutter. Learn to say no to things that do not serve your purpose. Learn to step back from people or situations that drain your energy. This is not selfishness, it is wisdom. When energy follows focus, life becomes aligned. Your actions become powerful. Your relationships become meaningful. Your dreams move closer to reality. And most importantly, you maintain your inner peace, your clarity, and your joy. Remember, you cannot control everything or everyone, but you can control where your energy flows. And when you do, life rewards you in ways you never imagined. Your light grows brighter, your heart grows lighter, and the people who truly matter gravitate toward you naturally. Learn to say goodbye gracefully. This is one of the most challenging lessons in life, because we are often taught that relationships must last forever, that leaving or stepping back is a failure, or that saying goodbye means we don't care. But the truth is, sometimes letting go is the most loving, the most courageous, and the most necessary thing we can do for ourselves and for others. Think about it. Every person who enters your life has a role to play. Some are here for a season, some for a reason, and some for a lifetime. And not every relationship is meant to continue indefinitely. There will be people who bring you lessons, people who help you grow, and people who simply remind you of what you don't want in life. And the challenge comes when it's time to step away. Let me share a story. There was a young man who had a close friendship that began in school. For years, they shared laughter, secrets, and support. But as time passed, their paths diverged. The friend became negative, critical, and draining, while the young man continued to grow in positivity and purpose. Deep down, he knew that staying connected was holding him back, but the fear of saying goodbye kept him stuck. Eventually, he learned that a graceful goodbye does not mean hatred or bitterness. It means acceptance and respect. By stepping away, he protected his energy, honored his growth, and left space for healthier relationships to blossom. The wisdom here is subtle but powerful. Saying goodbye is not a punishment. It is not a rejection of someone's worth. It is simply a recognition that your life's path is changing and some relationships are no longer aligned with your well-being. Holding on out of guilt, fear, or obligation only creates resentment, frustration, and stagnation. Graceful goodbyes also allow for closure. They give both parties a chance to reflect, to appreciate the good moments, and to move forward without bitterness. It is like pruning a tree. By cutting away the branches that no longer serve the tree, you allow new growth to flourish. The tree becomes stronger, healthier, and more vibrant, and so do you. And here is a beautiful truth. When you learn to say goodbye gracefully, you open your life to new opportunities, new friendships, and new experiences. You create space for people who uplift you, for connections that resonate with your heart, and for a life that flows naturally without unnecessary weight or attachment. So remember this, goodbyes are not failures, they are acts of wisdom. They are statements of self-respect. They are reminders that your peace, your growth, and your joy are worth honoring. When you say goodbye with grace, love, and clarity, you transform endings into beginnings, and you discover that life has a rhythm, a flow, and a beauty that becomes clearer with every conscious step you take. True friends respect boundaries. This is one of the most beautiful lessons in life, yet so often overlooked. We live in a world where people confuse closeness with possession. They think that if someone is your friend, they have a right to every part of your life, every minute of your time, and every piece of your heart. But real friendship doesn't work that way. Real friends understand limits, and they honor the space that allows both people to grow, thrive, and flourish. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who had a friend since childhood. They laughed together, cried together, and shared countless memories. Over time, the man realized that his own dreams required focus and solitude. He needed time to study, to reflect, and to grow in ways his friend didn't understand. When he tried to explain this, his friend fell. He hurt, believing that distance meant rejection. But the man patiently showed that true friendship is not measured by constant presence, but by respect and understanding. The friend eventually understood, and their bond became stronger than ever. This is the essence of true friendship. A friend who respects your boundaries does not demand more than you can give. They do not guilt you for needing space or for pursuing your own path. Instead, they celebrate your growth, support your choices, and stand by you without trying to control or consume your life. Boundaries are not barriers, they are bridges. They create trust, clarity, and mutual respect. When both people honor each other's limits, the friendship becomes a safe haven, a place where both can be authentic, vulnerable, and themselves without fear of judgment or pressure. Many of us learn this lesson the hard way. We allow people into our lives who do not respect our space. They expect constant availability, overstep emotional limits, and sometimes take advantage of our generosity. Over time, this can cause frustration, resentment, and even the eventual breakdown of the relationship. But with true friends, this never happens. With true friends, boundaries are honored naturally because respect is the foundation of the bond. The beauty is that when you surround yourself with friends who respect your boundaries, life becomes lighter and more joyful. You don't feel drained, obligated, or anxious. You feel supported, understood, and cherished for who you truly are. You realize that friendship is not about quantity nor constant presence. It is about quality, respect, and genuine connection. So, remember this. True friendship is a partnership, not a possession. It is an alliance built on love, trust, and respect. When you protect your boundaries and allow your friends to honor theirs, you create relationships that are not just enjoyable, but nourishing, enduring, and transformative. True friends do not take, they give. They do not demand, they respect. And they do not drain, they uplift. Being selective is a sign of wisdom. This is a principle that often surprises people because we live in a world that praises openness, inclusivity, and being available to everyone. And while those are noble qualities, they can also become traps if we forget the value of discernment. Life is not just about who we meet or who we try to please. It is about where we invest our time, energy, and love. Let me share a story. There was a man who had a kind heart and wanted to help everyone he met. He said yes to all invitations, offered help to every colleague, and tried to please every friend. Over time, he realized that despite his efforts, he was constantly exhausted. His dreams were delayed, his personal growth was stunted, and he often felt used or unappreciated. Then he met a wise mentor who said, "Your energy is like gold. You cannot scatter it everywhere and expect it to build wealth. Be selective, invest it where it matters, and your life will multiply in richness." This is what it means to be selective. It is not about being selfish, rude, or indifferent. It is about understanding that your attention, your time, and your energy are valuable. You only have so much of them in a day, and every person or situation you focus on takes away from something else. If you're not careful, you will give your energy to people or situations that do not nourish your life, and you will neglect the ones that do. Being selective is also about recognizing the difference between relationships that uplift and relationships that drain. It's about choosing to surround yourself with people who inspire, challenge, and support you, rather than those who criticize, manipulate, or take advantage of your kindness. It is about understanding that every yes to the wrong person is a no to the right person. Every investment of energy in the wrong place is a missed opportunity for growth and happiness elsewhere. The wisdom in selectivity also applies to opportunities, habits, and even thoughts. Life is full of distractions, pressures, and demands. Being selective means saying no to what does not align with your values, goals, and purpose. It means protecting your peace, your focus, and your growth. And paradoxically, when you practice this selectivity, life becomes more abundant. The right people, the right opportunities, and the right experiences naturally gravitate toward you. Think of your life as a garden. You cannot plant everything everywhere and expect it to flourish. You must choose the seeds carefully, plant them in fertile soil, nurture them with care, and give them space to grow. The same is true for your relationships, your energy, and your choices. Being selective is not exclusion, it is cultivation. It is an act of love, love for yourself, for others, and for the life you are meant to create. Remember, wisdom is not measured by how much you give away indiscriminately. Wisdom is measured by how wisely you invest yourself. The more intentional you become, the more meaningful your connections, the more impactful your actions, and the more fulfilling your life. Being selective is not a limitation, it is freedom. It is freedom from unnecessary obligations, from toxic influences, from wasted energy. And in that freedom, you find clarity, peace, and the ability to shine your light fully for yourself and for those who truly deserve it.